very tight at the top. 3 games separate the top 3 teams. Baltimore currently is 3 games out of first, but is tied for the second wild card spot. Yankees on the outside looking in, and they are running out of time. Well, speaking of time, Redskins got down to 53, and for some players, dreams dashed, but then a new lease on a career with the practice squad invites released, including a couple young players who shined in the preseason for the Redskins. Running back Mack Brown, who had a big game in the preseason finale against Tampa Bay, and this big run, he was named to the practice squad, and so was wide receiver Kendall Thompson, Bryce Harper's boy, who had that one-handed grab against the Jets. Skins all start getting ready for the Steelers in 8 days with a practice tomorrow. Now, a bit of a surprise that the Redskins will carry 3 quarterbacks in to the regular season by keeping Nate Sudfeld on the roster. Already have Colt McCoy as a backup, and of course, Kirk Cousins as the #1 guy. Keenan Reynolds was trying to be just one of the 53 guys to make the Ravens, but the former Navy midshipman was released. But then, good news for him, was signed to the practice squad today. So Reynolds will still try to make that transition from playing quarterback in college to a kick returner and wideout in the NFL. So that dream is still very much alive for Keenan Reynolds. Ravens hang their hats on special teams play. We know that very well. And today they signed one of the great all-time return men in league history in Devin Hester, 33 years of age, 19 career return touchdowns, putting him amongst the very best all-time at that position. That was sped up. All right, coming up on Game On Overtime, paralyzed by football, but he is making his way back at Georgetown. The story of Ty Williams, that is coming up next. Plus, high school football is underway, and we take you around the region for some of the prime matchups. And Maryland welcomes its new coach with a victory. Is it time to fear the turtle again? We discuss.
The one.
Let's go. Hey, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You got to love the energy, the enthusiasm that DJ Durkin brings to the Maryland Terrapins. Now, that came after a win against Howard. There's still a ways to go, but the Durkin era off on the right foot. DJ looking good in the Terps colors opening day yesterday. Some good special teams play by the Terrapins as they will block that kick and pick it up for a touchdown against the Howard Bison. In fact, running, that was a big deal for the Terps going into this game, and they executed that game plan. 6 different guys rushed for touchdowns, including 3 true freshmen. Terps win big, 52-13.
The moment is in the locker room afterwards with the guys after the win, singing the fight song. That's a great one for sure. And just again, the look on their faces, that's what you do it for. It's what it's all about.
And the team was ready. I mean, we know all the work we put in. We were fired up coming into this game. You know, ready to be able to play someone else, hit someone else. Everyone had put the work in through the off season, and it was a great feeling.
We all respect Coach Durkin. We all love Coach Durkin. We all want to play for him. And just seeing him after the game with a big smile on his face and his wife and his kids coming out on the field and him being able to hug them after his first win in a Maryland uniform, you know, we wouldn't want it any other way.
Now, back in the 80s, Farrell Edmunds was a stud tight end for the Terps, All-American, then went on to a solid NFL career, and now he's a proud papa with his son. We just saw him, TREY Edmunds, playing for his dad's alma mater, and both happy after what happened against Howard. Take a look.
My boy! Good day, what, man? Hey. It's great.
Farrell Edmunds, that guy could play some football and had many good years in the NFL, and now his kid playing for the Terrapins. Jake Russell, the Post, joins me again to talk some Terps football. You know the program very well. Good start, but again, it was against a much weaker Howard opponent. But a win is a win. DJ Durkin, was an identity, was it made against Howard? Did you see it moving forward for this team?
I'm not necessarily sure because I'm not completely sure of what a Durkin identity is yet because this is his first time as a head coach. Yeah. You can kind of see his enthusiasm resonating with the team, of course, as in how they celebrated his victory after the game. What I liked about the victory was Perry Hills was very consistent. The team was very disciplined, and the young guys got a lot of playing time, which is something that's very important because they'll need it going into conference play. You mentioned Perry Hills, starting quarterback. He's been on campus for many years, but this is his time. Is he going to get enough reps before a Big Ten play to see if he's actually good enough to be their starting quarterback? I think so. Yeah, I think the Maryland usually starts off 3-0, 3-1, 4-1, yeah. So he should be good for the next few weeks. We'll really see the true Perry Hills once they start playing the upper echelon teams in the Big Ten Conference. Defense was good. Again, albeit it was against Howard, no disrespect, but this is a program trying to find its way. 52-13, Durkin's got a defensive background. They've got Will Likely in the secondary, All-American candidate. What can we expect defensively? Again, let's get back to that identity question about this team. Expect a lot of athleticism, a lot of aggressiveness, a lot of attention to detail. The discipline yesterday was an important thing, especially with the defense. I see them, Durkin said that the best athletes will play both sides of the ball, so you have some offensive guys playing defense and vice versa. I see a lot of athleticism from these young guys this year. That's the one thing you got to tip your cap, even though it was just one game. You mentioned getting it to guys who know what to do when they get the football. A lot of times, we saw it with the prior coach in Edsel. He was very just, this is what we're going to do. I mean, Will Likely could probably play some offense maybe going down the line because he's that talented. You just don't want to waste your athleticism like they have in the past, perhaps. Exactly. And if you're going to play him on offense, give him a little bit of time now, and then once the Big Ten play starts, then really give him some time on offense because that's what some of the best teams in the country do. They play their best players on all 2 sides of the ball, and then special teams like Jabril Peppers. He plays every side of the ball for Michigan. Right. Speaking of teams like that in Michigan, and just a couple years ago, the Terps beat Michigan at their place. Now, things have changed for Michigan. They got Harbaugh in there now. DJ Durkin with the Terrapins. How quickly, if he can, is it expected for him to turn this thing around?
I think for this year, if he beats an Ohio State, a Michigan, or a Penn State, then Maryland fans will be happy. Then next year, he's got to build upon the win total from this season. And I think it all depends upon the recruiting class. And from everything he's done in the past 9 months or so, it seems he's done a very good job of recruiting. He's very aggressive. He knows who he wants to get, and he gets a lot of the guys that he goes after.
I asked you for prediction with the Nationals. What are we thinking here for the Terps? 5-5? Are they going to make a bowl game? 6-5? What do you think?
I guess I'll be the wet blanket and say 6 or 7 wins this year.
Okay.
I don't have that high of an expectation for them this season, obviously with the new coach and everything transitioning from the Edsel era to Durkin. Maybe next year 8 or 9 wins and then gradually go up from there.
All right, Jake Russell, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, yesterday, Navy started the post-Keenan Reynolds era. Now, the story of the game was not who won or lost. It was Navy's quarterback situation. Navy already up big when Tago Smith runs the option keeper on 4th and 6. Picking up big yardage, but he suffers a knee injury and had to leave the game. So someone on Navy's staff goes into the brigade in the crowd to tell Navy's freshman quarterback Malcolm Perry, yo, you got to suit up. And Perry gets in the game later, rushing for 30 yards in a Navy victory over Fordham. Pretty impressive story there. Great moment at yesterday's Georgetown game. Ty Williams, who broke his neck and was paralyzed in the game almost a year ago, was at the Hoyas opener, the coin toss, and he might have served as inspiration. Tim Barnes with a touchdown pass here to Justin Harrell right before half as Georgetown opens up beating Davidson 38-14. Before the game, we caught up with Ty, who remains incredibly positive.
When you're placed in a situation, you kind of only have one choice. It's to be strong instead of, wasting away and pitting yourself. So, I've had a fantastic support system behind me the whole time, so it's been a lot easier with them with everybody behind me, but it's tough, but got to get through it.
Best of luck to him. All right, not the ideal start for Virginia and new coach Bronco Mendenhall. Wahoos lose at home to Richmond 37-20. Get this, the last time Richmond beat UVA was 1946. Coming up next here on Game On Overtime, we go around the DMV and the local high school scene. That is straight ahead on Game On Overtime. All right, welcome back. Big high school game taking place this past Friday night as Damascus, the defending 3A state champs, facing Quince Orchard. Sights and sounds of Friday Night Lights. Yes, full effect for our game of the week. Teams are focused and ready to go. This one took place at Quince Orchard. Story of the game was Marcus Vincent here, the quarterback with the 55-yard scamper. Damascus
was on top 14-13, and he would tack on another big run before Quince Orchard got another chance to score. Now Cougars quarterback Doc Bonner scrambling to make something happen, but